Hello and welcome to Prepare for IELTS. I'm Ian, a native speaker of English and a former IELTS examiner, and in this video we're going through an IELTS Speaking Part 2 cue card. Describe an interesting conversation you had with your friend. It's a tricky topic because you have to say who you spoke with, where you were, what the conversation was about, and explain why you think it was interesting. And that can be the hardest part. So in this video, we'll do three things. Firstly, we'll show you our great model answer with lots of Band 9 language. If you can use this, you can impress the examiner and get a high grade. Then we'll have a read through of the answer so you can see this language in context, and then there's a quiz to see how much you have learnt. So let's get on with our great model answer and the great Band 9 language, and we'll start with sociable. This adjective we use to refer to people who enjoy spending time with other people and talking to them. Maybe you are sociable, maybe you are unsociable. It's always good to have adjectives which describe personality. Next, to chat, and of course you can say to talk, but if you can use more specific language, the examiner will be impressed. You will get a higher grade. So to chat means to talk in a friendly and informal way, usually about things which are not serious, like the weather or what you saw on television. If something is not your thing or not really your thing, you don't enjoy doing it very much. Sport is not really my thing. I don't like it. And of course, you often want to express your opinions, your likes and dislikes. So having different ways of doing that is really useful. And tedious, a great adjective, meaning boring and tiring, not stimulating, not interesting. We hope you don't have a tedious job. More great language. If a memory or idea springs to mind, it comes quickly and easily into your head. And memory-related language is great for IELTS speaking because you always have to remember something so you can talk about it. And of course, you can explain how easy or difficult it was for you to remember. You can say, for example, "Oh, at first nothing really sprang to mind, but eventually I recall the conversation I had with a friend." So the verb to spring and the phrase to spring to mind. If something stands out, then it's much easier to see or think about or notice than other things. And to wonder, again, we talked earlier about using the verb to talk and using more particular, more specific options like to chat or to gossip. Well, the same applies to the verb to walk. You can say walk, but you can say to wander, and this means to walk around slowly in a relaxed way without any clear purpose or direction. You might wander round the park on a sunny day. If you bump into somebody you know, you meet him or her without planning. You're walking down the street and, "Oh, hello, I didn't expect to see you." Of course, in the speaking test, the examiners love phrasal and prepositional verbs. These are these two-part verbs because that's a feature of spoken English, so try to use them. And donkey's years. Examiners also love idiomatic language, and this is a great example. For a very long time. "Oh, I haven't seen you in donkey's years." I haven't seen you for a very long time. A man with a beard has hair on the lower part of his face, so below the mouth, and a man with a moustache has hair on the upper part of his face, so between the mouth and the nose. And somebody who is bald doesn't have any hair on the top of their head. And if you go bald, this is the process of losing your hair. So a great strategy, have some language to describe physical characteristics. It can give you extra things to say. If you ask somebody what they've been up to, then you want to know news about their activities. What have you been up to recently? You can ask. And of course, you can use this here. You can say that, "Oh, my friend told me what she'd been up to recently." Again, this is a nice phrase, common in spoken English. The examiner will give you a higher grade if you can use more phrases like this. To turn out means to have a particular result or become known finally and perhaps surprisingly. So if it turned out that he pursued his ambition, it means that was the result. That's what you finally found out. If the party turned out to be boring, that's how the party ended. This is a two-part verb. The examiners love them. Stuff, and another feature of spoken English is that it's not always very precise. So stuff can mean things which somebody says or does. It can also mean things that you have. So you can say, oh, he told me lots of stuff about his life, lots of information. You can also say, oh, I've got so much stuff in my bag, it's incredibly heavy, so many things. You might think it's not a good idea to use this kind of imprecise, not exact language, but it's a feature of spoken English. It will get you credit. Celebrities, and these are people who are very famous and often appear in the media, especially because they work in entertainment. So singers or dancers or actors are celebrities. And natural disasters. These are terrible events like earthquakes, floods, and tsunami, which kill and injure many people and which are not directly caused by humans. If you are intrigued by something, you think it's very interesting. And of course, knowing words like intrigued is great because it means you don't have to repeat the word interesting. It was intriguing. I was really intrigued by it. And if a fact dawns on somebody, if it dawns on you, then you suddenly understand it after not understanding it for a period of time. So for years, I have had this terrible job, and it suddenly dawned on me that I was wasting my time. If you settle for something, you accept a situation which is not the best and which you're not completely happy about. So in the past, I settled for a boring job. I didn't try to follow my dreams. And again, to settle for something and dawn on are other examples of these great two-part verbs that the examiners love. Some of them are phrasal verbs, some of them are prepositional verbs. It doesn't really matter. The examiner will be very impressed if you use them. A humdrum existence, and this means a boring life with no excitement, interest, or variety. And if you have a dead-end job, we hope you don't have a dead-end job. This is a job which does not offer you any chance of promotion or progression to a higher level. You're just stuck in the same job all the time. If you hand in your resignation, then you tell your employer that you are going to leave your job. And to enroll, this means to put your name on a list of people who are going to join a course or a college or a university. So you can enroll on a psychology course, for example. And if you re-evaluate something, it's got re at the beginning, which means again, then you consider it again from a new perspective. You form a new opinion about it. Now it's time to read through the model answer so you can see this language in context. Actually, I'm not especially sociable. Chatting isn't really my thing. I tend to find it a bit tedious. But one conversation springs to mind. It really stands out because it utterly changed my life. I was just wandering along by the river when I unexpectedly bumped into an old schoolmate, Max, who I hadn't seen for donkey's years. I hardly recognised him because he'd grown a beard and a moustache, but also gone bald. Anyway, we went for coffee and I asked him what he'd been up to. It turned out that he had pursued his ambition to become a photojournalist. He told me some fascinating stuff. He had taken pictures of celebrities and movie stars on the red carpet, as well as famous politicians. He had covered natural disasters and wars all over the globe. I was intrigued and asked him all about it. The main reason why this conversation was so interesting was because halfway through it suddenly dawned on me that Max had followed his dreams and, unlike him, I had settled for a humdrum existence and a boring dead-end job. It was like a wake-up call. The next morning, I handed in my resignation and enrolled on a course in psychology, which is what I'd always wanted to do. That conversation made me entirely re-evaluate everything. Okay, it's quiz time. Let's see if you can remember some of the great language we've shown you in the video. Question 1. I wanted to something on an interesting psychology course at university, but it was already full. What do you think the answer is? And hopefully you've got it. Enroll. You can enroll on a course. Next question. After I'd been speaking with her for an hour, it finally, something on me, that she was a famous singer. Oh, do you think it sprang, struck, dawned, or fell? Of course, it finally dawned on me. I finally realized it clicked in my head. It dawned on me. Next question. If anyone asks me about my childhood, the first thing which, something to mind, is the cottage where we lived. And the answer is, well, it's not dances, it's not jumps, it's not falls, it's springs. Something springs to mind. It comes into your head. You find it in your memory. And it was a complete shock to something into you. I thought you were in Australia. A complete shock to bump into somebody. Now you have to find the missing word or words. If you have a boring life with no excitement, interest, or variety, you can call it, what can you call it? It was a humdrum existence. Well done if you got that one. That's a hard one. What do we call events like earthquakes, floods, or tsunami, which kill and injure many people? And these are, of course, natural disasters. Next one. What do we call people who are very famous, often because they work in entertainment? We're talking about singers and actors. They are, of course, celebrities. And if you decide to leave your dead-end job, you need to hand in your resignation.